Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into Soul Talk. Really excited to relaunch the show, and it's going to be an amazing time. We've now partnered with the Los Angeles Tribune, and so the show will not only be broadcasting here on my YouTube channel, but it'll also be broadcasting on the Los Angeles Tribune's Roku television and a Roku TV and Fire TV. So pretty excited about that. And I have here tonight my very good friend Daniella Decastro, and we're going to be talking about living in the now at the moment and current times. Hi, Daniella. How are you?
Hello, I am great, and congratulations. I'm so
excited
excited
thank you so much. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's already been a lot of fun kind of putting everything together. And, you know, of course, everybody knows I like to be creative, and so I'm putting all that stuff. So first thing we want to talk about is, I think we were discussing this last week. Daniella and I just came back from a very fun staycation in about 25 miles from here at an Airbnb, and we were just talking about the current situation of the world. And I don't want to go too heavily into we didn't want to go too heavily into like any certain topic, but it's really just honestly, one of the things is obviously the last year, we've had, you know, the coronavirus and people out of work and all the tension with each other in politics and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of want to talk about the energy of that and the anxiety and some things that we can work through for ourselves. But, you know, we've both gone through these trying times as well. So I'll let kind of Daniella kind of open up with I don't know, how was your last year? I mean,
it was great. I mean, we all had adjustments. I had losses, you know, in the family, but it was a great time to go within and really heal certain things. A lot of things came up because you know that there were times I was missing in action.
Right.
And it was very, very necessary. And you did the same thing. A lot of us went very much in because I feel it like percolated up the issues with the anxiety. Like, I think we had to go through the motions. Yeah. It wasn't just mind over matter. We had to go back in and do our homework. So anxiety did come up. I personally really got a lot of comfort from going deep and doing discernment, because there was so much coming at us that it was very hard to figure out what a truth was, no?
Well, that's true. It's interesting. We should talk. Let's talk a little about that just a little bit, because anxiety-wise, you know, one of the things that I did is there's a point where it was like probably April, and now keep in mind my best friend lived next door to me at the time, and he was going through his own stuff as well. And I'm going to do a shout out to him because I know he's watching. Damien, how's it going? And I went to a point where I felt like everybody hated me. Like literally just this point where I was going through such darkness in my deep parts of my consciousness. And that's what ends up happening when you're sitting by yourself quiet all the time, is that you have to start facing things in yourself that makes you go, whoa, wait a second. And that inner voice or the inner part of you starts to pop up and start to say, who do you think you are? Going out there and helping people, you can't even help yourself. And that's an okay thing to have, really, to be honest with you, for those that are out there and like, well, yeah, I went through that, and you know, whatever. And it's okay, because when that happens, it's time for you to go within and talk to that part of yourself and say, well, wait a second, why do you feel this way? And you know, because that voice or those things are always going off in your brain.
It's true.
So. Yeah.
And also, we talked about this last weekend, on top of who are you, you know, because I went through that as well. But there was also, like, every now and then the bubbling up where, I don't know if you want to call it anger or something. And every time I felt it was misguided, like, to me, it just didn't feel real. And I'm like, okay, what is your issue with this? Like, what's really going on here? Sometimes you really have to figure it out. Like, what, you know what I mean? The thought process, where are these emotions coming from? Instead of just picking an easy target and just going for it. Do you know what I mean? That's the easy way.
Right.
But everything's really internal. And I kept telling myself that. So I really did have a great year, like a lot of growth, milestones, but also I found a place of peace.
Right, that's totally a good point, because I did, even though I went through all those things, I did find a lot of peace, and it's interesting. I also I've talked to a lot of people, even clients, and they've gone through a lot this year as well.
Exactly.
And one of the things that they've said is though I got closer to my family, I got closer to my friends, and I got things done this year that I never thought I would have gotten done. And I thought that's incredible. That's really incredible when you really think about it, because we wouldn't have never given ourselves the time to do it before.
That's exactly true.
And
like
so,
it really was a pause.
Yeah.
And I felt it was very necessary. And when I was talking to people, whether family, loved ones, clients, we were all doing the same thing. But some people in the beginning were resisting more. But I've talked to many people that found it a very positive year. And like I said, I accomplished things even in 2020. Not that I was planning on it, because we were like on a roll, right? Everything was going good. We were always traveling, we were working. And then it came to an abrupt halt. But nonetheless, it's amazing what I was able to do.
Yeah, it's funny you should bring that. So most of the people that know us, they know that we were doing all these expos, and my roommate and friend and business partner, Sherry, we were all doing expos and going out and working this. And more importantly, what we were doing is we were wanting to travel, because we have a travel bug. And then we went, I had a cruise that a lot of people know that I host, called Spirit Heart Cruise. And we had like already 60 people booked up for this cruise, and then we had to cancel.
I was excited.
So we were all like, the truth is I want everybody to understand. So I talk a lot about positive attitude, and so does Daniella, and keep maintaining that. But the truth is I want to be raw with you guys and tell you that, I was disappointed. I was really upset, and that was a hard thing to do. And with that being said, what I kind of want to talk about is that also when we're talking about the things that came from, I started to have to say, in this moment, I'm here and now. And it's interesting because a lot of my friends, I feel some of them I feel more distance from, but there are some that I feel really, really, really close to. And that's okay, because that's kind of the ebb and flow of the universe. And that's kind of the point, the now of the moment. And so if you're in the now of the moment, you're in this moment. Like right now in this moment, I'm with Daniella, sitting in my garage. It looks like the space. It looks like space.
But I mean, right? Like we really
we really did.
Closer.
We really did, because we and so I'm sure that you all, if you guys want to put in the comments, you guys maybe had that same situation that happened to you. Maybe there's things that you got done, or interesting enough, you got some rest. Like some people, feel like they got rest. Not to say or to put down anybody that had a rough year. So that's not what this is about. This is now about here. Now we're in 2021, and we know we went through all this, and we're still in the middle of a lot of it. So now it's about, hey, let's look where I'm at now. Let's get into the now of the moment and really start focusing on where I'm at this moment. And so what kind of the reason why this conversation kind of sparked actually is because we were talking about there's always been this, all the years that I've been in spiritual, actually all the years I've been alive, there's been people, including me sometimes, that goes into, I can't wait until this happens,
right,
and then I'll be happier. And then
which is an illusion.
Or it's an illusion. And then last year was like, I can't wait until it gets 2020 and all this can be out of my way. And we can finally be done with all this. And the truth is that there's always going to be something that makes you feel like, oh, I want to get through this. And so you have to honor your emotions.
True. And
then you have to still live in this moment. And so I think that's where we get hung up sometimes. And Damien says, rest, you're funny. Yeah, I know. But the average person, so yeah, it's really, when you really think about it, there's just, how do I say it?
Well, just something that's on my mind, because we've had a lot coming at us, right? I mean, I think we can all agree to that. It had its ups and downs and bumps and everything. But one thing, if anxiety crept in, because again, there was a lot going on for all of us. If it crept in, one of the things I did to ground myself, because I'm going to be honest, like there were times where I felt like panic and fear, you know what I mean? Not knowing what was going on. And then I'd be like, and a lot of times I would go outside, because that really helps me to be out in nature. And just by being still outside, I would be like, I would just tap into the energy of that moment of being there. And I'm like, Daniela, it feels good. Like, what are you panicked about? What are you afraid of? Right now, you're safe. Your needs are met. Everything's okay. You're going to be okay. And I kept going back to that, like just being in that moment. That helped me from a severe like anxiety. And I did have a small bout. I don't know if you want to call it depression or something, where you just, I guess, we love to travel, both of us. Our group loves to travel. And to have that taken away from us in 2020, we both put a lot of things on a calendar. Like, we were filled the whole year. To have all that taken away, but then it was almost like the flowers coming out of the snow or something. Other things that we weren't expecting just blossomed.
Yeah.
Unexpected but beautiful gifts, and being in a mindset of gratitude. I don't want to be like a Pollyanna, like, oh, everything's perfect. But in all honesty, there is something to choosing your thoughts.
First, we have to pause. What's a Pollyanna?
Oh, Pollyanna is when, like, wearing rose-colored glasses,
Oh,
no matter
okay.
what's in front of you.
I really thought that was a Sherryism there for a second.
Oh, no. It's because I can go really cynical or I try to be balanced.
Gotcha. If you guys don't know, my roommate, I pick on her all the time for her phrases, and we call them Sherryisms. And so I thought that Danielle was coming up with something.
No, it's real.
So, well, Linda, hi, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. And I think honestly, Linda, you were not the only one that went through that. It's kind of why we're having this conversation, is that we have to ground ourselves. We have to be in that part of that. And I kind of want to take you guys through an exercise real quick. Do you mind?
Oh, I'd love it.
So you kind of just take a deep breath in, and then you exhale out. And so the big thing is deep. I mean, literally a deep breath in. Don't go and think that's a deep breath. Like, almost down into your toes. The breath goes down into your toes. And then you exhale out with your mouth. And so what's the point of this is that I want you to now visualize yourself connecting to source, so to speak, and allow that energy of whatever you pray to go touch the crown of your head and channel down into your heart. And then I want you to feel the energy of the planet or the earth coming up through your toes. And this is hi, Sylvian. And so coming up to your heart, and both energies connecting your heart and coming together. And so then I want you to say in your mind, not with your mouth, I want you to say in your mind, balance. And I want you to feel the energy that is you, of everything that is, coming together into this balance. And so what is this doing? So spiritually, it's connecting and balancing you between the divine feminine and divine masculine. But for some of you out there, that might be too woo-woo for you. So what I'm going to say to you on this is that for you, and it's basically saying into your inner psyche that I'm no longer at odds with anything in my life. And in this moment, just for a moment, I want to have a sense of peace, so that I'm not, it's because when you're at odds with somebody or angry with somebody, the people you work with, the people that cut you off in traffic, or the people that love you and you're disappointed or whatever, it doesn't matter. And you're at this point of peace in this moment. You're just saying, when you say balance, you're saying, for just this few seconds, I don't have to be at odds. I can just be at peace. And so, and that's a choice, and that's what it is. So, you can turn that anyway. I personally like the woo woo, and so but it's totally fine if you don't. And so, and what I was saying last night on the show I was on last night is I said, hey, sometimes you have to speak in the language, because we're all talking this different language, and we all have this different understanding of something. And that's the other thing. So instead of us arguing with each other, why don't we come together and start saying to each other, hey, wait a second, let me see where the common ground is. And it's like, I had a woman say to me once, she said, Jer, the things that you're looking for, if you really get to the root of what it is, I bet you it's very similar to what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I thought, and at first I thought she was nuts. I just thought she was crazy. Like, what the heck is this lady talking about? And the truth is, and she goes, okay, let me ask you a question. If you had children, but she goes, even if you don't have children, you have people that you love, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah. And she said, okay, so you have people that you love and you care about, and if they got hurt, you'd upset you, and you'd want to go and, defend them, right? And I was like, yeah. And she said, so you have people love you consider a family. And I was like, yeah. She goes, so the truth is that we're all wanting to have people that love us and that we love them. We're wanting to protect them. They want to protect us. We all want to leave a legacy behind, and we all want to leave security behind for the people that we love, and to make sure that they feel safe, that kind of stuff. And so, the truth is that at that core level, we can argue about how that works and where that comes from. The truth is, if we get to the heart of the matter, we're all looking for the same things. So, and I thought that was a really powerful statement. And so, yes, love and validation, Sylvian's.
Hi, Sylvie. My brother taught me that when I was very, very young.
Yeah.
We were talking all manner of things, subjects, areas, and he told me everybody, no matter what country, like, we want to make sure our loved ones have food, a roof over their head, they're safe, they're happy to the best of our abilities or their abilities. But it's true, like, a lot of times we're coming at each other, and it's just not the way to go. If you come from a more compassionate standpoint, like, even when somebody's going directly against something or someone you love, right? But if I don't know, just something that I do, I try to come at a different place and understand them on a different level. Not the situation, but just try to, maybe as a human being, and just come from a loving. And if you notice, I can stop myself in my tracks if I'm getting annoyed at something and just send love. And what's really amazing is how quickly that situation will change by having compassion and love, not by who's better at arguing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or who's going to litigate this. So it's really, well, because in my past, I really love to argue about things.
She should have been an attorney.
That I wanted to. So that's something that even if you win the argument, you're not winning anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just makes the other person feel less than.
Right.
And you're not understanding them. You're not hearing them.
And especially if this is we're all souls too. Why would you want to make another soul feel like
that's
less than?
Understanding what we are.
Right. And then the second thing, especially if it's somebody that you love.
Exactly.
Like, why would you want to make somebody that you love feel less than? And the reason why you want to do it is because you're so hurt inside, you want to lash out and make them feel a certain way.
True.
And so, and that part of you, that whatever, that angry thing inside of you that we were talking about earlier, is wanting to lash out. And so the other thing is, like, Carl Jung used to talk about the shadow. And so in the ancient texts, they talked about it being the light and dark side, or the yin yang, so to speak. And so if you have that yin and yang, the darkness or that shadow, whatever you want to refer to it, that's that part that when somebody made fun of you in school and you internalized it, and you hurt, the part of you that feels that you're not worthy of having love, or not worthy of having the job that you want, or the success that you want.
You're not enough.
You're not enough. And we can get into the whole law of attraction thing, but that's really not even necessary. Is that you have to, those are things that you have to face, one, and we all have them. Some people have been through a lot more trauma than I know I have. And I have friends that have seen some things that I don't even know I could handle. And so, and the truth is that we all have that hurts a part of ourselves, and that hurts part of ourselves wants to lash out. And when it feels that way again, especially when you're an adult and you've had it, you're not going to do this to me anymore. And so it lashes out, even if the person doesn't intend to feel that way. And that's why I know people have experienced this before. Somebody said to you, "You made me feel this way," and you're like, that wasn't my intention.
Right.
But the truth is that it triggered something in them. And the problem is in this conversation, people will say, well, that's your shadow coming out. And instead in that moment, the moment is to say, you know what? I love you. You may not even say it, or you might just walk away, or you might not say anything.
But you could just send it.
You could just send it, because it's almost even more harmful or hurt. The hurt little boy or the girl. Yes, Sylvia. And so it's almost more hurtful to point out to somebody, hey, that's your shadow. You're one finger pointing out in judgment, three pointing back, unless you're in this coaching session. Or if it's in the moment where it's the perfect time. Sometimes it is the perfect time, and there's something in you that says, speak your truth now. So you have to.
Did you have to deal in last summer? I guess I had to deal a lot with the shadow. Like that's that voice that kept coming up and saying like things that it just wasn't logical for me. And I'm like, okay, really investigate this. And I think 2020 gave us that chance to really, almost like a review. You know, it was an opportunity to really figure this stuff out. And I know people like us, on top of dealing with our stuff, right, we were trying to help others as well through the process. And a lot of people did very well, like the ones working with me. They really made very positive changes in their lives. And I'm so amazed at humanity, you know, because I think at the core of it, people really do want to just love. You know what I mean? They want peace. Who likes division?
Nobody.
Who likes fear?
You know, there's people that act like they like it, but that doesn't mean
they act like it. But I think that's because they're afraid.
Yeah,
and they feel threatened, so that they come out aggressively. You know, and that's just not the way to go.
Because we've done it. We've come out aggressively before. And
believe me.
We're live, and I'm trying to clean up my live feeds, but I call that the Emma mother effer. That part of that myself that does that, because sometimes it's a jerk, and it's and because he's on the line, there was actually a time, never gonna put this public unless I'm on a live feed, but there was a time where Damien and I were at Walmart, and I got kind of nasty with the girl checking out because her light was turned off, and she turned it off right when I got. So I was being a jerk, and he pointed it out to me, and then I got mad at him because he was pointing it out to me, and I didn't want to look at it at that one point in time. But the truth is that, you know, I could have just walked away. It wasn't that huge of a deal. And these are things, but those moments when you have that happen, it's why did that happen? Because I felt like she didn't recognize me, or she wasn't paying attention to me. How dare she? And that part of it, I want people to really start paying attention to this voice inside of you that does these things. And it's like, and the thing is that, yeah, I know we don't like it, but the problem is the don't liking it part. We want to brush it under the rug. So be careful that we don't brush it under the rug. We want to actually look at it and say, wait a second.
There's no growth from brushing it under the rug, and we're going to repeat it.
Right. And it's kind of like when you were through a temper tantrum, did your parents ever say, all right, I'm going to put the, you said, yes, you did. Did your parents ever put you in the safety restraint and say, all right, we're going to talk about this when we get home? Did they ever do something like that?
Put you in what?
So you're in the car. They put you in the back seat of the car because you're driving home. You were in the restaurant. You start throwing a temper tantrum. They put you in the baby seat in the car, and they start driving you home or whatever, because they don't want you to be loud and throwing a temper tantrum in public. You've ever had that?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, sometimes you have to put the
7. That's wouldn't have. You know what I mean? My parents were over it.
Sometimes you have to put that part of yourself in the back seat and say, "We'll talk about this when we get home," because it's not the right time.
Don't you do it?
What's that?
Like recently, something was said to me that was spot on truthful, spot on the money about, I guess, a fear of mine, something I'm resisting, and I didn't want to hear it. Yeah. And I removed myself and went into a different room and like thought about it. And I'm like, the reason why it bothers me is because it's the truth. I just wasn't open in that moment to hear it, but I came back 15 minutes later and said, you're 100% right. I knew I was wrong.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we want to talk about this, because going into 2021, 2, 2, and 1, by the way, for those people that like to play with numerology, is a 5. And so what does 5 mean? It's about change. And so if we want to bring change into 2021, why don't we bring in self-awareness? Because the truth is you're not going to be good all the time. So this is more of a spiritual based show. And the truth is people think that spiritual means I'm going to be a good boy and a good girl. And no, spirituality is living life. And so that means sometimes you're not going to be the nicest person. But the next step of that is to look at it.
Right.
And so it doesn't mean that we're not going to be a nice person. Get over it. That's you. And so, well, sometimes I'm going to be sick, but it's looking at it and saying, wait, where does this come from? And
exactly. Where does
and
it
so
come from?
why? And that's why I mentioned the get in the back seat, because what that does is it's saying, that get in the backseat because we'll talk later. Well, that part of yourself has been used to you brushing it under the rug all these years. And so it doesn't necessarily trust you. Sylviane was banking in the bathroom. So that must have been like in 1955 or something like that.
So he's going to get you.
So, but the truth is that what happens is that if you say, we're going to talk about this later, you literally have to go back and process it. Because if you don't, think of yourself as a relationship with somebody else. If you tell somebody you love that you're going to talk about it later, then you need to talk about it. And like I found that with myself, it's better for me to walk away, process it, and then I'll talk about something that hurts my feelings than me to do it in the moment, because I'll blow up. And
it's two different things, because if you don't walk away, I've learned this again, like, geez, maybe when I was like 20, because I have a temper. So I would remove myself from the situation. I would remove myself from the situation, even if I give myself anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, process like you're talking about. What about this situation? Why am I so upset?
So upset, yeah.
And then like I can figure it out, and then I go back out, and honestly, and believe me, I think it's important to be completely honest. If you make a mistake, to apologize. And I'll even go so far to explain why I did something, no matter how humiliating. I've done this recently too. And I think the other person receiving, like, because I've made mistakes, they appreciate that. They're not just getting an apology, but I'll explain. I show them my vulnerability. If this is somebody close to me, I share my vulnerability with them. And how much more real can you get than that? Just like, this is why I did that. I was feeling insecure, whatever. My feelings were hurt. And I think it has a powerful punch.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
And like 30 years ago, I was probably too much of a coward to do it.
Hey, well, that's, I think, part of the process of the spiritual part, is that we grow. And some people would just say that's just growing up and getting older and a lot wiser.
Not everybody does it.
Not everybody does it. So it is what it is. I mean, we're coming up to the end of the show. So I wanted to do, well, first I wanted to say, is there anything else that you wanted to say before we?
On the topic, if you could, one of the best things, like staying in the now, because it does cause a lot of anxiety. People get very anxious if they're looking too far ahead, like what's going to happen. And I remember reading years ago, like 90% of what we worry about coming in never happens. And the past, if you worry about something, and I have been guilty of this, I'm not going to be honest, we tap into that pain from the past, and we have a choice of choose your thoughts, right? And like today that happened, and my daughter's like, disconnect from that emotion. It was something traumatic, and I did it like that, disconnected from the pain. And that's something to empower you, right? Because you choose your thoughts, you choose your emotions. And some people don't understand that, but it's like getting behind the driver's wheel. You know, don't let the car just go anywhere at once. You choose it, be the creator. But, you know, meditation is great. Like you were talking about, how do you help with anxiety? Meditate, ground yourself. Like I was getting anxious today when I was driving. I didn't do the full meditation that you just did, but I did pull in source energy. I saw golden light go throughout my body and breathing, and it immediately calms me down. And probably even on this, because I was really doing it with you, and I felt like just bliss. So these are simple techniques.
To me, it's the best thing I've ever learned how to do.
It really is beautiful.
So, I want to, real quick, I just want to read something to you guys real quick. So I want you to all close your eyes, even if you're watching the recording, the archive of this. And I want you to feel these words. My heart is open to receive the energy of love. I radiate this essence. I walk my path with ease and grace. And what is this saying? It's saying that I'm in balance, and I'm walking my path with ease and grace. You're telling the universe to say, you know, I'm going to approach life with ease and grace, and things that happen, you know, I'm gonna feel it, but I'm gonna experience it. I'm gonna work through it with ease and grace, even the challenges. And so it's really powerful. And so I got Daniella's website up there, by the way. She is an amazing coach, and I absolutely adore her. And she's also a pretty incredible medium, from what I understand.
Thank you.
So you guys can check her out on her website. Also, this episode will be on the Los Angeles Tribune's Roku TV, and Fire TV. So you can go on if you're on there. Look up Los Angeles Tribune, it'll be there. And as always, if you want to find out more about me, my website is there as well. So much love, everybody. And
thank you for joining us.
everybody, peace. Have a good one.